up to $25 million in grant funding could be provided to schools within the Buffalo Public School System to help them fund a and comprehensive plan and implement it. Community schools integrate academics, health services, support systems to meet the needs of students in especially low-income communities. Schools in Cincinnati, Chicago, Hartford, Boston have turned schools around and increased academic performance. Community schools are cost-effective in nature by bringing together existing services, private organizations, directly into the school systems. Community schools provide for engaging and culturally relevant curriculums and a positive school climate. Wraparound services, health services, social services, emotional services are a critical piece to community schools. Positive disciplinary practices such as restorative justice, transformational parent, and community engagement are critical pieces of a community school. A single program cannot turn around schools, and a comprehensive approach is what we need. This is that comprehensive approach. The legislation has a lot of sponsors on it in Albany. It is being carried by Andrea's cousin Stewart, who is the leader of the Democrats in the New York State Senate. We have some really great advocates and organizations that are supporting and helping us craft this legislation, and they are helping us lobby for its passage. Because the Buffalo system has multiple problems, we need to have a multiple planned approach to deal with it. My idea of doing that is through the Community Schools Act, and I am hopeful that by the information that's being shared here today, that other folks will realize that this is important and that we should get this done as soon as possible. It is now my pleasure to introduce David Mercurio. He's from the Buffalo Public School District, and David is going to bring some remarks regarding the Community Schools Act as well. David,
thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Good afternoon. On behalf of Interim Superintendent Donald Ogilvie, our Board of Education, and the children and families of the Buffalo City School District, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Assemblywoman Peoples-Stokes for her diligence and her leadership and her vision in providing supports to our schools, which we know is much needed. So let's give her a big round of applause and thank you for that. We may be few in number here, however, it only takes a few people to really help turn around any initiative that needs to take place, and it only takes the right people to be in the room, or the right people to be in front of a school in this case. I'd also like to recognize Dr. Tanja Williams, who leads this school, and her staff for all of their great work. Whenever I'm around children, I get excited. I get excited to see little kids in pre-K and K, and older kids in junior high, those in high school as well. But we know there's some realities that our children and our families and our schools face on a daily basis. We know that poverty has a real impact, a powerful impact, one way or another, on our children. Many of us know this on a personal level. I was a son of two immigrant parents, one of whom only spoke Spanish for his whole life, the other who spoke both English and Spanish. And my father became ill when I was around 5. And at that time, we went from a working class family who struggled to a family in severe poverty. And I can tell you that there were a few things that helped me become the person I am today, and my family, my brother and sister as well. And I think many of you may connect with this as well. And that is that we didn't do it alone. We know that it takes a coordinated, synergistic effort of other people to help us as young men and women, as children, to become successful. For me, that was the churches, that was teachers, that was the school system, that was neighbors and other individuals who saw potential in us and said, we're going to help you, because they knew we couldn't at that time help ourselves, but they created the pathway for us, and they helped us in that way. And that's what we need to do, is we need to give back to a society. When we have come from a place and have arrived at a different place, we need to look back from where we come and make sure that we provide that opportunity for our kids as well. I think this act brings hope for our community in many ways. I lived for 10 years right across the 33 on Genesee Street for 10 years and raised my son there. And for me, I saw the impact of poverty. I saw it in New York City when I was growing up, and I see it here in Buffalo as well. However, what I will say is, as the city is going through a renaissance, it's renovating its buildings from the past to be great places of commerce, as it's building new structures. As you go down to the left and you see all the great things happening downtown in the medical corridor, what we know is that if we don't educate our children now, who will fill those seats in those employable opportunities? If it's not these children, then who? We must make sure that we have an educational system that works together to provide community support so that these children fill those jobs. And so that when they graduate from high school and college, they don't leave Buffalo, but rather stay in Buffalo. One of the things that it's really important is that I always think about a stone wall. And I'll close with this. If you think of a stone wall, and it's built with cinder blocks, and each cinder block has a word on it. On top of that stone wall is a student. So I want you to visualize that stone wall with a student sitting right on top. And above that stone wall where the student sits, the student is looking up in the air, and they see college, they see the career, they see the military, they see Peace Corps, they see other opportunities. Further on, they see themselves raising their family. Now that stone wall, the first cinder block is the parents and the family. Many of us have children. I view myself as my son's first teacher, as his first support system. And then you have family members that are extremely important to that son or daughter as well. You have the school system. You have peers. You have community-based organizations like Citizen Action and others. You have teachers and schools and curriculum. And then you have colleges and universities and other employment agencies for our students as well. A solid wall will help that child become whoever he wants to become. It will help them reach their potential. But if you take out 3 of those blocks, the parent, a strong school system, and community-based agencies, now you have a wall that is weak, it is compromised. The probability of success for that child is now less than it was or less than it is for a child that sits upon a solid foundation. So it's extremely important for us as a district that we work together in this model of a community schools model, where we provide various supports for our community, that the school serves as an epicenter for our community as well, to help turn around the statistics that show that poverty can have an impact, but it is not the only impact that it can have. We can reverse that trend if we work together. And so with that, I'd like to thank again Assemblywoman Peoples-Stokes for all of her leadership and diligence, and also Tanja Williams and all of our principals and staff members. Thank you all for your work on behalf of the
Doctor, we appreciate your comments. The whole thought process, not just throughout New York State, but I think throughout America, is that in urban areas where children are unsuccessful in the academic process, it's always because they're from low-income families, or it's because of poverty. Well, that is really not an excuse not to educate children. What that means is that we just have to find the other ways to add to that, so that there's value in that poverty situation turns into an opportunity for working class, upper class, middle class, etc. Most people in America, in some way, shape, or form, started out at some level of poverty. As a matter of fact, I went to school 31. Both my parents worked, but I could have swore we was poor because my father was so frugal. Spend anything on anything, but so it's always a challenge. But when you have the kind of community around you that Dr. McCarroll talked about, there are ways to be successful. And I am confident that the Community Schools Act is one of those. I'm glad that we're also joined here by the BF&C organization, which is long-standing in this community and providing services to the parents of these children in this community. So it's good to have him here as well. I will also remind you that, legislation that comes out of Albany is important, it's critical. Because there was a time when universal pre-K was not all day. It was a half a day. And that got changed because we realized that working poor families need to have the ability to stay at their job all day, as opposed to working a half a day and being home with your children in the afternoon. Not only that, it bodes well for the children's academic progress, for them to be here with Dr. Williams and these wonderful teachers to prepare them to be ready for kindergarten. And first grade and then second grade. Early childhood education is critically important. And so Albany understood that and got it done, and that's why these young people are here today and going to be here all day. And I'm excited about that. With that, I have the great opportunity to introduce the young lady who makes this school work. And if you look at the state data that's been collected and the information that comes out about School 37, it will tell you that it's persistently failing. I would challenge that by saying that it's persistently experiencing challenges and not being given the necessary resources that it needs to bring these children to what they're capable of. Yeah. And so I am really very, very proud of Dr. Williams and all the things that she has been doing here to transform this school into one of the best, in not just the city, but in the state. Dr. Williams?
Yes. I'm going to use the mic for the first part of what I need to share because it's very important to me. Well, for two reasons. I like a microphone, but the second is because I want you to hear, that's right, let's be honest. I want you to hear how we start every single day at the Marva J. Daniel Futures Preparatory School. And I want my children to join in. We say this every day. This is a creed that we wrote as the staff for our children for what we believe in them, because we believe if you tell children enough of what their potential is, they too begin to believe that they have that potential. So children, let us begin. We're going to, and I'm asking even my pre-K children to say this creed along with me. I am a young scholar at the Marva J. Daniel Futures Preparatory School. I am college bound. I am exceptional because I work hard at it every day. I commit to attend school every day to learn and to grow. I will never succumb to mediocrity. I make no excuses. I choose to live honestly, nonviolently, and honorably. I have a responsibility to my family, my teachers, and my community. I believe in myself. I believe in the Marva J. Daniel Futures Preparatory School. I believe that I am the future. I believe. We say that every day. If Assemblywoman Crystal Peoples believes it, it is so. I want to thank the Assemblywoman for the courage that she is exhibiting and in her belief in Futures. She has for a long time been a friend of Futures. When I first came to this school as the principal, one of the first people that came and wanted to support the work that we are doing here was our Assemblywoman. And she brought a program which really spirited this creed about believing that all of our children, no matter where they come from, no matter what their circumstances are, have the ability to be successful in life. We believe that. We believe that wholeheartedly. I am a product of the Buffalo Public Schools. I went to School 90 and I graduated from there. I went on to a school that was called Genesee Humboldt that is now Build Academy. I transferred from there. I went on to West Hurdle, and then I am a proud graduate of Riverside High School. Riverside. And so I know what teachers and a community that believes in a child can do. So I ask you to take a look at the faces of our children, because the data is the data, and we acknowledge what the data is. We acknowledge that, but our school's story is a story of growth. Our children are beginning to exhibit growth, and this Community Schools Act that the Assemblywoman is putting together can dramatically help a school like Futures to continue our trajectory upward and onward. Thank you so much for all you have done for Futures. Thank you for believing in our city and in believing in our children. Thank you, Assemblywoman Crystal Peoples-Stokes.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. We appreciate you a lot. Since you had to mention that you're a graduate of Riverside, I better tell people I'm a graduate of Bennett High. You know, as I said earlier, The value of education in urban areas, particularly in communities, calls for there to be the engagement of community organizations. And there are several in our community that have consistently been involved in the education issue and in the opportunities to make the educational outcomes of all of our students better. And so it is my pleasure to bring comments. Keith Jones from Citizen Action of New York.
All right,
Keith.
I guess I'll use the microphone too. Wow, this is so impressive right here. It almost had me speechless. As you said, my name is Keith Jones. I'm a member of Citizen Action and on the board. Excuse me. I'm here as a parent and a member of the community. The fact is that when you take the community out of the schools, you end up in the situation that we are in right now. When I was in school, we had night school. Schools were open later. The services they need, the community, I'm so proud. They was up with a night school. I could run this off my head. We had programs for the community where you had adult education. You had all these services that was in the building. Under the community schools, something changed along the way. But under the community schools, our experienced students will have the services they need, like health care, mental health care, counseling, and job placement. They'll be open later at night, and we'll have the opportunity to provide tutoring, mentoring, and excuse me, all of this and more services for students, like you see behind me now. That's what schools should have anyway. Most of these neighborhoods where we have struggling schools now, the community would benefit completely. If we let schools deteriorate and go away without bottom-up solutions, like engaging in community within the schools, the end result will be privatization and a shut out of the community. Remember what I just said, a shut out of the community. So the bottom line is that when something is right, it's right. It's been proven that when the community is involved and engaged in schools, schools improve and the students succeed. The Community Schools Act is a real solution to address not only the issues that our schools face, but it's a chance for everyone to come to the table and be a part of the decision-making process. I want to thank the Assemblywoman Peoples-Stokes for your leadership on this issue. I also want to say that if you shut down these schools and don't have the Community Act, the Community Act is also, we always talking about parent involvement. Without this here act, you're taking the parents away from the school anyway. If you take this beautiful school right here, take it out this Fruit Belt community, they're gonna have a reason to just probably stop the medical corridor and do what they want to do with the people that's in this community. That's not something that we stand for. This is a beautiful school. My daughter is a graduate from Community School 53. I went there. I went to West Hurdle also. I went to Riverside. And when I was there, we used to do something to y'all on the football field. When I said when I was there, we might not have been there at the same time. But anyway, as you can see, these beautiful children right here, this is our future. You know, we might have a president, doctors, lawyers. Well, I know we're going to have a lawyer because I heard one talk back there a little about y'all doing good things at this school. So, like I said, I want to commend her for her leadership on this issue. Let's get it done and really do the work that our students need us to do. Let's be whatever support that she needs, the parents need, these children need, let's get on board and do it. Once again, I want to thank you for the work you're doing here, which the press will see that there's work. We do not have struggling schools. We have struggling people downtown that's trying to sabotage our schools. So all that failing schools, if you leave these teachers alone, let them teach, this will be the end result. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I'm pleased that we're joined by the Executive Director and CEO of BF&C, so I would invite him to make comments if you like.
Thank you so much. My name is Ricardo Herrera, and I'm the Executive Director of Buffalo Federation of Neighborhood Centers. Most of you may remember the Neighborhood House. The Neighborhood House is still there. quite often was the only place that offered kids activities from right after school into the evenings, and did a lot of the college awareness trips, an awful lot of mentoring. That history still lives, and we still believe in neighborhoods and neighborhood schools being partners with good community-based organizations. So I really welcome this opportunity and thank Assemblywoman Peoples-Stokes for giving the opportunities and always being a champion. Dr. Williams has done a fantastic job here at Futures Academy. And it's tougher because we don't have neighborhood schools anymore. Pretty much most of the kids who come here also come from surrounding neighborhoods. And I think that creates a real challenge in terms of forming the same kind of community bonds. Not too many actually walk to school anymore. And it becomes a real challenge in terms of creating all the supports that are needed. And I think what you're gonna find here is that they're gonna try a variety of interventions, including services that follow the kids back home to their parents and the neighborhoods they come, and tie them in very tightly to the services and the educational system at their school. And that kind of bridge building, I think, is gonna be a wonderful recipe for success. And what they have right next door is a medical corridor that creates wonderful opportunities if we can emphasize STEM and other science and technology learning. And it starts with kids at this age. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and we look forward to working with Futures on whatever comes next. Thank you so much.
Okay, I will end by saying it was referenced a couple times that the medical corridor is just up the street. It is projected that within 10 years, there will be the need for 17,000 more people to work in the medical corridor. This is where they're gonna come from. They're gonna come from the schools in the Buffalo School District, and Futures Academy being one of those. And so I'm excited about today. I thank you all for being here, and I really hope that at the end of the session, we'll be able to say that the Community Schools Act has been passed, and it will be very beneficial to the Buffalo School District. Thank you.